Been learning a lot in the last few weeks, and we've been firing off each other in Facebook. I'd really recommend that you read the writings of Rich Novak and Daniel Yordi, as well as many of the things that Merrill Thompson is sending through, extracts from loads of people. Other people, Ole Henrique, then Fred Pruitt, lots of the ladies, June Mellinson, Sylvia Pierce, Cindy Estep, all these people are on Facebook, and it's just wonderful fellowshipping and just gradually learning more. So I've been hitting our church quite hard because they have really got to this stage, and Helen Rubio in a conference 2 years ago said she didn't feel that we could go a lot higher and a lot further in this realm, corporate realm of worshipping together and seeing the glory manifest amongst us until we learn more about this realm. So I recently had the light turned on regarding how heaven functions, and I'm using them as an example, not because they're in any way different. In a way, they're a lot better to anything than anything that you see out there. But it's really become almost a mechanical thing now that they pray about things. They pray about everything they do. They'll have an extra prayer meeting for every meeting, and sometimes they'll have a prayer meeting about a prayer meeting, and it's almost become like an Aladdin's lamp. It's a vehicle for them to touch God, but really it doesn't get to the hub of what Christ is speaking in these days, because that realm describes really relates to the start of seeking to come into the third level revelation of growth and the third stage of revelation. But it really represents the first part of Jacob's life, where he learned techniques, mechanical almost, techniques of faith to faith in speckled sheep and striped sheep. And it does work. And the Word of Faith movement was all about that, teaching the people how to move in faith again. But you'll find in these days many musicians, many creatives, many sensitive souls leaving the church in their thousands right now because they are pig sick of the mechanics of something like that. And they can't not all of them can put their finger on what it is they don't like. But what it is they don't like is that we're looking at churches that have only this one goat message, so that effectively that part of them that should have been dealt with by the two goat message is wandering right into church with them, and they're wandering around seeing separation between them and God, and always seeing this chasm, never being quite good enough, and always having to do activities to try and measure up to the grace of God. Well, of course it's not like that. Jesus has, with open arms, reached down to each one of us, taken away our sin, but also taken away the thing which was the problem in the first place, because we were, at the end of the day, only containers, and having rejected God in Genesis 3, we became a container for a new spirit who is disguising himself as us, as a God in our own right. And we take all this with us into our churches, and we build our pyramids, and we build our networks with Mr. Big at the top, and we structure our church meetings around this goat-like behaviour of us and them, and other people never quite measuring up to our excellence and our own self-righteousness. And people get locked out and feeling locked out and never quite in the inner coterie, because it's all coming from another spirit that doesn't honour the fact that Jesus Christ came in himself, came into our life and fused himself at our very spirit centre, so there is no difference. We are connected right now in the spirit with the heavenly places, and this is the apostolic foundation of Ephesians 1 and Ephesians 2, which most of the church have not had as an apostolic stage foundation in the spirit laid within them. They are still trying to do works, trying to do behaviour modification, trying to somehow fit in and make it as a Christian, without knowing that they are destined to make it as a Christian, because the second goat was thrown right away, never to be seen again. And that second goat was this feeling that I am a God in my own right, alone me, trying to make it in this lonely universe, which was our total fix-up from the beginning, which comes from Satan himself. The reason why we feel so awkward is because we're still wandering around with this spirit of wrath mentality. Actually, the reality is, if we're born again, that is not true. Right down in our spirit centre, Jesus is living our life. And this is what changes here. And that's why Jacob had to go through another stage where he was met radically by God himself and had his name changed at Peniel. That is the stage the church in the whole world is at right now, that we know we have had at the cross a name change. We are God incorporated sons of a new operation entirely. That's a Norman Grubb expression, God incorporated, for the Father fashioning sons after his own likeness. We are born again, bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. The bride is brought forth from Adam, the second Adam's rib at the cross. When Jesus was effectively put to sleep, you could say, in the manner that Adam was in the beginning, a new rib was taken out of this second Adam, who was Christ, and formed into the bride of Christ. So the only way to progress higher in this realm is to change our thinking here. This is our below conscious thinking, and this is where it all changes. It's what we have running our lives, our operating system, which is not seeing Christ at the centre and is not seeing Christ living our life, but is seeing our whole life just really functionally as if we'd never been born again. Seeing our whole life patterned according to our life as it always was. This alone I mentality struggling through life. And one by one the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, has to identify ways of seeing which are not part of the kingdom. And as they get crushed and broken and destroyed and ripped out of us, the kingdom itself can manifest more and more within us. And when we meet together, the glory level will rise and rise and rise. It's already begun in many parts of the world. There are many wacky things happening right now, have started happening. Oil appearing, gold dust appearing, open visions, all kinds of strange and wonderful stuff. But the most important thing is what happens outside meetings. Who do we think we are?